Anyway, 5 of us were in Washington, D.C. I went May 28th and stayed through August 1st. We lobbied Congress almost 5 days a week, had meetings with senators and representatives, 2 to probably 7 a day. It was very rare that there were 7 a day. We had meetings with them, convinced them that the raw milk was a safe and good thing. Out of the 537, we only saw 76. It would have taken probably a year to see all of them. However, we did have a plan to go to each office with the report that I had printed. Just the printing alone was $15,000. And the rental of the unit was $10,000, the house. Very expensive to live in D.C. in a nice neighborhood. So, the Cohen family out of Colorado funded the whole thing. So that was very good. So when we went to Ron Paul's office, his chief assistant, Norman Singleton, said, "You want a bill? We'll write a bill for you." I said, "Sure, let me see how many co-sponsors we can get before you write it." You know, so we had about 70 representatives and senators who agreed to sign on as co-sponsors if they would get somebody else to write the bill. Well, Ron Paul was way out there, so I was afraid for him to write the bill, even though he's an MD. He's a doctor, you know, so it would be perfect to have an MD write it. However, the stature that he's accumulated in the past few months is incredible. So we've been writing the bill for about 6-7 weeks. We're tossing the bill back and forth, rewriting it to make it as simple as possible, like a 1 paragraph or less, 3 sentences. We were trying to whittle it down to law. And he did the final write of it, and he submitted the bill to Congress on November 5th. And just last Thursday, Dennis Kucinich and Peter Welch signed on as co-sponsors. So in the email that I sent this morning, or during the middle of the night, I asked people who are pretty savvy about the milk, who understand it, can call all these 70 representatives and get them to sign on as co-sponsors, the one who promised that they would, if we got somebody to submit a bill. So we need people who can get on the phone in this next week and call everybody. I will be calling some. I've got this other California law that passed, which is going to wipe us out of milk in California. So I need people who can call, you know, in the next 2 weeks to get as many to sign on as possible. Okay.
Is that going to wipe us out of milk, or the ability to produce milk?
Well, the ability to, the federal law allows raw milk to go interstate. Okay, right now it's outlawed, right, and the FDA is using that as a reason to say raw milk is bad. But if this law is delivered to Congress by an MD, they're going to have a hard time using that defense anymore. So I'm also planning to do a class action suit with them starting somewhere around April. But this class action that we're going to do against the California legislature is a law that was just signed in by the governor on, I think it was October 10th, was it, something like that? October 8th, somewhere around there. The governor signed it in, and will make the regulations for raw milk for the coliform count so strict that the milk will pass no more than 50% of the time, and that way it'll put the raw dairy producers out of business because they won't be able to afford to stay in business. Same thing that happened to Stewie's. That's what they did with Stewie's here when the Los Angeles County Medical Milk Commission did that very same thing. So I took it to the legislature, showed them all of the documentation on raw milk. That was a good thing. And Fickiyoon was Dr. Fickiyoon, who was the head of the health department at the time, issued a 5-page letter to the Board of Supervisors stating that, you know, it killed children, you know, like one girl, she had really drowned in a lake, you know, it had nothing to do with salmonella. So I showed that every statement that he put in the letter was false. He was fired a week later. So they had to, because they set them up for a suit, and I was getting ready to file suit on them. So with him having created all this false information, it was blatant that they were prejudiced in creating a situation of fraud to defraud the public of the raw milk. So of course the bill passed. 4 out of 5, so it was close to unanimous. So we got the milk. So now we're facing the same thing the state did it, passed that law. So I have to go into a class action suit. I just got an attorney who's going to help. He's not licensed in California, but he's a constitutional attorney out of Washington State. He's the head professor at Pepperdine for constitutional law. So he's agreed to do for half price, $350 an hour instead of $700 an hour.
Wow.
So we need your donations. I have enough to probably get us all the way through to the court steps, with donations already. But if it goes to court, then of course we're going to need the extra money, another $30,000 to get us through the court. Don't want to do it pro bono, because that means if there is money that we get, it's all going to go to the attorneys, and we'll see $5 a piece, something like that. And I don't think attorneys deserve that kind of money just for going pro bono. That's like 100% interest on the money. Not right. Of course, it is a high risk, gamble, but everything's a risk when you're investing, whether it's a savings account or whatever. So, need your donations, to help out there, and also I'll be getting another large donation, $25,000 from the Cohen family this February. They give $25,000 to Right to Choose Healthy Food. That's why I had to wait 2 years to receive the $75,000 before we could go to Washington, D.C. to do that. And that whole episode cost about $40,000.
To be in Washington?
To be in 2 months. That was pretty good. Most lobbyists charge $100,000 a month
Oh, you
for a
have to
lobby.
pay them?
No, we did it ourselves, but all the expenses, which was for 5 of us, and all the food, especially little piggy Nathan,
Nathan,
where's
I
he?
didn't-
Hey.
The amount of food that boy eats.
Hey, growing Nathan.
There you are. He's skinny now. He doesn't have all the food that we've had.
I want more caviar.
But all of us ate well, and Nathan did a lot of work there. He made our food for us. He wasn't there the whole time. He came about a month later, about 4 weeks after we were there. So he prepared our food for us, even went shopping, and then did a lot of computer work too. So we all worked very hard and very long hours. So we worked very hard to make raw milk available. And then for them to pull this clandestine thing in California state, legislator, they slipped a 1-page bill that nobody noticed into the farm bill regulating raw milk, and it didn't belong in there. They snuck it in. So, of course, Schwarzenegger grew up on raw milk. He trained with raw milk all while he was in California, Altadena raw milk. So I'm sure he wouldn't have signed it if he had seen it. But he's the only one that can issue a letter to the health department and say, back off, you cannot enforce this law. And he can do that. He can't rescind the law, I found out from the constitutional attorney. He can't rescind it. He had to do it, if he was going to rescind it, he had to do it within 30 days. He didn't.
Well, you could have vetoed it.
he'd already signed it before anybody
He
found out
knows.
about
He
it.
signed it. he-
Too late, yeah. He had 30 days to rescind it, he didn't do it.
Why is that?
Nobody knew. Nobody knew.
He wouldn't have signed that, he would have had it rejected from the bill,
Even inside
from
of
the
the
farm
30
bill,
days.
because he's for raw milk.
Oh,
Unless he's in the hands of big corporations like Enron, because he's in Enron's lap, so. And the Bush family, he's heavily into the Bush family. So he may have, I doubt that he knew about it, I doubt that he would have let that fly. Yes?
Did the Brockovich attorney we not do?
I will be in touch with them again on Monday,
Okay,
tomorrow,
good.
because they couldn't tell me anything really at that
Okay.
point.
Okay.
So I've got an attorney in San Francisco who looks like he will be doing the submitting of the law and the briefs and the injunction and the lawsuit itself. I got Martin, Charlie Sheen, and Emilio Estevez. They will go and do a press release when we file the suit. They will be part of the lawsuit to get us some publicity, because all you have to do is make enough noise, and the health department doesn't want to be seen as a bad guy, and the government doesn't want to be seen as that big of a bad guy. So that's why I'm getting that. I'm also trying to get Leonardo DiCaprio. Now, Martin Sheen and Leonardo worked on the Departed film that was done, released last year and won all those awards. So Martin's going to call Leonardo. Now, Leonardo was raised on raw milk because he was a patient of Paul Fleiss, who's a pediatrician. So, thank you. So, you snuck in? So, looks like everything's going very well, but I don't know if we're going to be able to get a hold of Leonardo, because he's probably one of the busiest actors there is. Raising that raw milk, he's one of the brightest young minds we have. So,
He
and all
did that
young
11th
minds.
hour,
Pardon?
he did that 11th hour documentary also,
Yes.
which was very good. So, about planetary survival.
He's a very conscious young man. Okay, so I'm going to start. There's one other thing. Abraham has some dairy and meat that he brought from Rawson for anybody who needs meat, and you brought some pig
I
brain,
brought some pig brains and intestines and buffalo meat.
and buffalo meat and dairy.
Eggs and dairy.
What kind of dairy?
Is milk and butter. Not much butter, but mostly milk.
no
Doesn't
cheese,
butter on
I
it.
need
Those
cheese.
intestines are mine. Were they in a staff fridge?
Oh, they're yours? Okay, then.
Thank you for bringing them. Trying to get a parasite hasn't been unsuccessful so far. So.
Too toxic.
So forget about the intestines.
Did you bring any of your books?
Pardon?
Your books, the second edition?
Yes, I have one of each. Somebody called and asked me to bring them, so it was you, okay. So I have one of each that I brought in. In the car, I have a lot of recipe books, but I don't have any more of We Want to Live right now. I have to go to the publisher and pick them up after this. He's near here, so I'll be picking some up there. But if you need the books, you can go to Rawson. Rawson sells them.
Look on the site, get them on the site.
Oh, and the website. Also, if you want to get the downloadable versions, the PDF versions, you don't have to go through the index that way. In the book, you have to go through and if you have it on your computer, you just put the word that you want, and you can click on every spot that relates to what you want. You just click to those pages. So it's the same cost as the hardbound books. So it's good to have both for quick reference if you want to reference something quickly without having to go through the books, or the hardcover books. And the only place those are available on are on WeWantToLive.com. The We Want To, the 2 is the number 2. We Want To number live.com. Okay? All right. Was there anybody else?
On the legal thing, is OPD and Clairville, are they working with you on this? Or
No, I don't want them working with, I want them separate suits.
Who is this going
Because we gotta
against?
go at them, I think even Sally Fallon's attorney's doing one, And then Mark has his own attorney, so we're gonna go at the state of California with 3 lawsuits. Yeah, because it's always better, because a judge can't get by with throwing out 3. They may get away with throwing out one of the cases, but he's not gonna get, no judge is gonna get by throwing out all 3 cases. And even if they throw out mine, we're in federal court overnight.
Yeah.
Because it's a federal issue, it's a constitutional issue. It's even in the California Constitution, but I've dealt with California before and ended up having to take them to federal court to deal with them. So I'm not worried about all that, it just means more money.
Who started this against the milk industry?
The health department.
They just want us to die. They don't
Well,
want poison.
They just wanted to deprive
Yeah.
us of as much nutritional food as
That's
possible
what they want.
because it's big business, disease is big business, doctors and pharmaceuticals. It's like keep the nutritional fare with everyone very, very low so none of our brains can grow and, get
They keep us
stronger and
stupid so we
get more
don't.
intuitive on what's really
tired.
right for us.
It's like, no.
And this stuff made me from, I was autistic until I was 22 and I started drinking the raw carrot juice and the raw milk. Within about 10 days of drinking those, all of a sudden my autism, I was able to read, I was able to comprehend language for the first time in 22 years, 21 and a half years. So for me, it's, of course they don't want the raw milk. They don't want good minds.
No.
They want people sick and subservient.
Yes, like little dummies,
Yep.
really. Following the
I look at our educational system. If you look at who created the educational system, mainly the Rockefellers. And the Rockefellers are known to want to run the world, rule the world, and they have ways and all kinds of ideas on how the educational system should be set up to make us dumb. And there's a few books on it and how the Rockefellers wrote the whole didactic approach to our educational system in America. Okay, let's get off of all that politics now.
I'm sorry, can I see your money?
Just right over there.
So is this the milk, I just want to
Oh,
clarify?
yeah. How you doing?
Good.
So Aajonus,
Yes.
how many states right now, because I just was visiting Florida, and Florida does not allow raw milk. You can get it at Whole Foods, but you have to, it's in the back labeled as pet food. And I had goat milk and it was delicious. And, but he was just asking how many states can have raw milk now.
Well, there's only 15 states that actually outlaw it outright. Most of the states where you can get it, it's not available in stores except in Connecticut and California.
Ooh.
Otherwise, you can buy it at the farm. So that's the only way you can get it, is buy it at the farm or have somebody who gets it from the farmer and distributes it. Now that's what I've created all over the United States, is like we have the Rawsome Club here. We've got branches of the Rawsome all over, just spelled differently. This Rawsome has an E after the R-A-W-E-S-O-M-E. The other Rawsome clubs throughout the United States are R-A-W-S-O-M-E. And what I do is I contract we lease the herds, or chickens or flocks, whatever it is. The club leases the herd or flocks, the herds, whatever it is, for milk or meat. The co-op, the Rawsome Club, leases it so that they own the herd. They own all the product. So the farmer works for us by taking care of the cows, feeding the cows, housing them, and milking, bottling the milk, and delivering it to wherever we needed to deliver it or pick it up from them. So we pay them per bottle or per pound, whatever it is, whether it's meat or eggs or dairy. We pay them per bottle for handling all of that. So that is a surefire way. Pennsylvania was the first one with the FDA who tried to shoot that down in court. And I wrote the legal documents for it, 67 page one and a 19 page one. Because I didn't want, they were going into court on the same day, these two farmers. So I had my milk report attached, so that took up 53 pages of the 72 pages. And the rest was a declaration that we are not commercial. The FDA, the health department, has jurisdiction over commercial dairy only. This is not commercial. This is private enterprise. This club's members own the dairy. They're not buying it, so we can ship it across any state line we want. We can do anything with it. We don't have to label our milk. We don't have to label our milk. We put on the contracts. Each member has to sign a contract that says we want bacteria like E. coli, salmonella, trichinosis. If you've signed the Rawsome Club, you've read what I wrote. So it completely takes you out of any jurisdiction that they can have. LA County came after Rawsome here to close them down. You know, James and everybody just freaked out because they were intimidating. So I called the health department and I said, listen, your guy trespassed. It says no trespassing except for members. Your guy trespassed. He broke the law. We will not press charges, but you're going to have to leave us alone because we are not commercial. We are private. You have jurisdiction over commerciality only. We don't want to see you again. Thank you very much. That was the end of it. They haven't bugged us in 3 years.
Yay.
That's the way to handle it.
Yeah. So I sent them a copy. I sent them a copy of the lease agreements that we have with our farmers that show that we own the milk, and then the club members agreement showing that we want everything out of the counties and states and federal regulation. Because they're, you know, you're only allowed to have so much bacteria. We say we want all we can get. You know, so we don't want any kind of antiseptics, no Clorox, no bleach, no nothing near our food. We want bacteria. So with that kind of a representation, they took it to their attorneys, and they got back to me a week later and said, okay, you're right, we have no jurisdiction, and that was that. And when we took it to the court, now I didn't even go with the farmers because I just wrote out the documents for them pro se. So pro per. Pro se is federal, pro per is state or local. So they took their documents in there, and the judge said, you sure you want to find this against you? And the health department said, no, we don't. So they just dropped it. They dropped the charges for selling milk without certification and without permits. And I said, we don't need permits. You're not selling it for the public. So all of my farmers that we contract with for all the different clubs, most of that dairy comes from Michigan, Indiana, and Pennsylvania to supply even to my clubs in Florida. So they have those contracts are set up. Now, Sally Fallon's had a good idea, but it doesn't hold up in court all the time. She has a cow share agreement. That means, you know, if a judge takes you into court and said, how much of the cow do you own? Do you own the ear? Do you own the leg? Who owns the udders? The milk belongs to the udders. See, a judge can pull crap like that. So having a cow share program has been outlawed in several states, and it's been rejected in courts. You can lease anything. You can lease a fingernail. You can lease a person, a home, a chair, a plate. You can lease anything in our country. If they shot down one lease, all the others could tumble. So they don't touch leases. It's a sure fact, a method of ownership. And you, the leaser, the leasee, is the owner of that property as long as the lease contract is in force. Okay, now we need to,
Just one quick question. They shut down the Liberty Dollar, They went in the rates, I mean, this is a little bit off different, but.
Let's don't go there.
But I
We
think
don't
it's
have
a leasing.
time.
Oh.
We don't have time, because we have to stay on
Oh, I
food.
thought with leasing, I thought it was a
No,
lease.
no. Okay, so we're gonna go around with questions now.
I have a question.
Oh, some more people. Hi there. How you doing?
What's your name?
Good.
Aajonus, I have a question.
Other questions?
Oh, these are more
Close it out.
joining the, okay.
There's a process.
Also, I need somebody who can enter some, about probably 1,500 names into a database, preferably a File Pro. I've got the program with me, and these are the class action suits. All the people who've joined, what you'd be doing is putting their name, their address, and telephone number, and that's all. So if anybody can do that, I would appreciate it. Also, I'm going away for several months. I'm going to Thailand, to China, Thailand again, to Finland and Estonia, to do workshops and seminars in all those places, and also Singapore. So I'm going to be gone for almost 2.5 months. And we're going to have people who are going to be sending in their class action, joining a class action suit, and plus donations. So I'd like somebody to go to my post office box in Santa Monica at 5th in Arizona, once a week, once every 2 weeks, pick out the mail, take the mail. If you do it every week, then you have to wait at the window. But just take the mail, anything that's right to choose healthy foods, open it and then deal with it. An account and right to choose healthy foods where you can just deposit it with any Washington Mutual. Is there anybody here that can do that? You can do that? Terrific. Okay. Do you have FileMaker Pro?
No.
Okay. Do you have a computer?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, terrific. I brought the program with me and the documents, and we'll set up a meeting before I leave. I leave December 4th, and I'll give you the key.
And when do you
Okay, to
come
the
back?
post office box. Pardon?
When do you come back?
I return the third week in February.
Okay.
So it'll be December and January and 3 weeks of February.
Because I have to go a few weeks in Italy.
Pardon?
I go for a few weeks in December in Italy. Is that okay? I can leave my friend with.
Well, it's okay. It's not going to go. It's not going to fall apart
Okay.
if you go away for 3 weeks.
He's willing to help if you need something.
Partnership.
Okay, so the two of you can work it out. Terrific. I really appreciate that. And if you need, like $15 an hour, right to choose healthy foods can arrange that for you. Okay. All right. And could you stay after and then let me get write down your names and numbers, and that you're volunteering to help with that, with the mailing and the deposits of the checks to Right to Choose Healthy Foods. Any mail that's addressed to Optimal Ways of Living, to anybody else, to me,